Radha Madhava Kunjavya Madhava Kunjavya Vijana Vadabha Girivana Vijana Vadabha Yashodana Jajana Shodana Jajana Gira Yamuna Gira Yamuna Gira Yamuna Gira Vijana Bala Vijana Bala Ashokanam Jajana Ashodana Jajana Yashodanandana Brajajana Yashodanandana Brajajana Virajana Yamuna Tira Vanaja Yamuna Tira Vanaja Yamuna Tira Ada Damodara Radham 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 Pad Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. Special welcome to Salvatma Prabhu, who is on post-recovery from the surgery. Please keep him in your prayers so that he may recover quickly. So this morning we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, the Creative Impetus, Chapter 10, Maharaj Rahugana meets Jat Bharat. Text 17. That is 5, 10, 17. Let's see if I got it right. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. Naham Vishanke Suraraja Vajran Natra Yaksha Shulanayam Masya Dandat Nagnyak Arka Somanali Vitapastrach Chanke Vrisham Brahma Kulavaman Nat Naham Vishanke Suraraja Vajran Natraksha Shulan Nayam Masya Dandat Nagnyarka Soma Nilavita Pastrach Chanke Vrisham Brahma Kulavamanat Naham Vishanke Sura Raja Vajran Natraksha Shulan Nayamasya Dandat Nagnyarka soma nilavita pastrach. Chanke brisham brahma kulava manat. Would anyone like to try to read the verse? No brave souls out there. Lauren, would you like to try? I mean, if you step to the plate, then everybody will be forced to.
I can try.
Yeah, that's it. That's the spirit.
Naham Vishake Sura Raja Vajran Na Triyaksha Sulan Na Yamasya Dan Dad Nagni Arka Somanila Vita Pasrach Chanke Brisham Rama Kula Vamanat.
Wow.
I
Well
tried.
done. Well done. That's so well. Okay,
Thank you.
devotees, you are all initiated. You are familiar with Bhagavatam. Lauren just stepped up to the plate. If you don't step up to the plate, I think you need to um, have a deep introspection.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Vishanke Suraraja Vajran Natriaksha Shulan Nayamasya Dandat Nagdyarka Somanila Vittapastrach Chanke Brisham Brahma Kulavamanat.
Thank you. Just see, Lauren, you see, your enthusiasm has inspired everybody else to participate. So, yes, you are much needed in these classes every day. Parameshwari Devi, if you can react, you can certainly read. So, please. Okay. How about you, Priya Manjari? Please grace us with the vibration of your voice.
Hi Krishna, sorry,
Hello.
I'm in the apartment.
Hello. Okay. All right. Well, at least we got two participants. That's my tally for this week. So next week, August 23rd, I'm going to try and have it up to 3. So, dear devotees, please support me in this endeavor. Na, not. I, Vishanke, am afraid. Sura Rajavajrat, from the thunderbolt of the King of Heaven, Indra. Na, no. Raksha Shulat, from the piercing trident of Lord Shiva. Na, no. Yamasya, of the superintendent of death, Yamaraj. Nandat, from the punishment. Na, no. Agni, of fire. Arka, of the scorching heat of the sun. Soma, of the moon. Anila, of the wind. Vitapa, of the owner of riches. Kvera, the treasurer of the heavenly planets. Astrat, from the weapons. Shanke, I am afraid. Vrisham, very much. Brahmakula, the group of the Brahmanas. Avamanat, from offending. Excuse me. Translation. My dear sir, I am not at all afraid of the thunderbolt of King Indra, nor am I afraid of the serpentine, piercing trident of Lord Shiva. I do not care about the punishment of Yamaraja, the superintendent of death, nor am I afraid of fire, scorching sun, moon, wind, nor the weapons of Kuvera. Yet I am afraid of offending a Brahmana. I am very much afraid of this. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was instructing Rupa Goswami at the Dasha Shwamedha Ghat in Prayag, he pointed out very clearly the seriousness of offending a Vaishnava. He compared the Vaishnava aparada to Hatimata, a mad elephant. When a mad elephant enters a garden, it spoils all the fruits and flowers. Similarly, if one offends a Vaishnava, he spoils all his spiritual assets. Offending a Brahmana is very dangerous, and this was known to Maharaj Rahugana. He therefore frankly admitted his fault. There are many dangerous things: thunderbolts, fire, Yamaraja's punishment, the punishment of Lord Shiva's trident, and so forth. But none is considered as serious as offending a Brahmana like Jad Bharat. Therefore, Maharaj Rahugana immediately descended from his palanquin and fell flat before the lotus feet of the Brahmana Bharata, just to be excused. Of the lotus feet of the Brahmana Jad Bharat, just to be excused. The text again. Naham Vishanke Sura Raja Vajran Natraksha Shula Nayama Syadandat Nagnya Arka Soma Nilavita Pastrach Chanke Brisham Brahma Kulavamanat. My dear sir, I am not at all afraid of the thunderbolt of King Indra, nor am I afraid of the serpentine piercing trident of Lord Shiva. I do not care about the punishment of Yamaraja, the superintendent of death, nor am I afraid of fire, scorching sun, moon, wind, nor the weapons of Kuvera. Yet I am afraid of offending a Brahmana. I'm very much afraid of this. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Maharaj Rahugana is letting us know what is very dangerous, what is to be feared in this world. As we know, Krishna gives the assurance to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita that the soul can never be moistened by water, withered by a wind, or burned by fire. So it seems like one is invincible from an ontological point of view. But if none of these elements can actually pierce the soul, transform the soul in any way, then you can do pretty much anything. In other words, suppose you become a consummate masochist, one who can endure a lot of physical pain. And some persons even they have like this condition where they actually don't feel physical pain. So suppose you become like one of those persons, or even suppose through yoga practice, through the uh, achievement of pratyahara, where your senses are completely withdrawn, you have full control over your nervous system, so much so that you actually don't feel physical pain. And so at that point, it seems like you're invincible. You don't feel scorching heat from the sun. You don't feel cold in the wintertime. You become a consummate practitioner of the Wim Hof method, where you can sit in ice and you don't feel cold at all. You're able to maintain your core bodily temperature. So suppose you actually achieve this physical state of full control over your nervous system so that you don't actually feel physical pain. And so here, Maharaj Rahugana is saying that there is still a cause for fear. Because even if you could transmigrate from one body to the other, and it was actually painless. So whether you are dying, you're old, you're not feeling any pain, you're not feeling any discomfort, you're just witnessing, uh, you know, your vehicle, which is your body, simply resting, and it's actually not a problem for you at all. Still, there's actually a cause for pain. Some persons, who are not aware of the hierarchy of power within the universe might not be aware of these powerful personalities, Lord Shiva, Yamaraj, and Kuvera. But those who are aware know that they actually carry formidable weapons. So one thing that could be painful from a mental point of view is that you're trying to achieve something, and say you're trying to achieve power, like Hiranyakashipu, and you meet these formidable personalities. So what could be painful is having to start from scratch. So having to transmigrate to another body. So even if physically you don't feel any pain in battle, but the mental pain is the pain of loss. So then you meet up with these personalities, and then they vanquish you in battle, and then you're forced to transmigrate. So that is also, a painful thing. But here, Maharaj Rahugan is saying even that isn't actually a cause for fear. Because, hey, you're going to get another body through pious activity, you can become powerful, and then you can conquer them. Bhagavatam speaks about different personalities that have actually conquered these persons. So they are conquerable. It's not that they can't be conquered. Just through suitable practice, you can actually position yourself to become more powerful than them. But still, there's a cause for fear. And the cause for fear is an action that is actually going to send you spiraling downwards. So, in other words, suppose you meet Kuvera, Lord Shiva, or Yamaraj in battle. When you transmigrate, so you accumulate austerities, you accumulate a certain level of power. In your next birth, you just carry on from where you left off. But there's an action that can cause you to spiral downwards. And that is Hati Mata Vaishnava Aparad. So this will be the subject matter of our excuse me. I've got a histamine, so I have to tend to this nose. So the mad elephant offense. So Vaishnava aparad is compared, offending the devotees, is actually the biggest cause for fear in this world. So Lord Chaitanya, Prabhupada, he references Lord Chaitanya. Well, this is chapter 19 of Madhya Lila. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Srila Rupa Goswami. And Lord Chaitanya explains to the great Rupa Goswami that this is the greatest thing to be afraid of. So let's read some text in here from the words of Lord Chaitanya, what he has to say about this. Okay. Okay. According to their karma, all living entities are wandering throughout the entire universe. Some of them are being elevated to the upper planetary systems, and some are going down into lower planetary systems. Out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. By the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. When a person receives the seed of devotional service, he should take care of it by becoming a gardener and sowing the seed in his heart. If he waters the seed gradually by the process of Shravana and Kirtana, hearing and chanting, the seed will begin to sprout. So here there's no reference to soil. So even if the soil, there's like no soil in the heart, or it's just like completely hard earth, you can still have a hydroponic solution in the heart. That's how potent the Shravana and Kirtana process is that even without a suitable medium, such as the mode of goodness, still it can grow. Lord Chaitanya continues. As one waters the bhakti lata bija, the seed sprouts, and the creeper gradually grows to the point where it penetrates the walls of this universe and goes beyond the Viraja river, lying between the spiritual world and the material world. It attains Brahma Loka, the Brahman effulgence, and penetrating through that stratum, it reaches the spiritual sky and the spiritual planet Goloka Vrindavan. So this is quite amazing that the Bhakti Lata Bija, that seed that the spiritual master actually gives, so potent that even without a suitable medium, as I said, the medium of the mode of goodness, just by simply watering it with Shravanam Kirtanam, it can actually reach. So this state is called Jivan Mukta, and the Bhakti, the Kripa can actually penetrate the coverings of the universe. Now, when you've gone beyond the coverings of the universe, you are then employing the spiritual technologies called Manasa Seva, where even though you're in a material body, here you can actually transport yourself to, the different leelas of the Lord in the Vaikuntha planets. And so that's really how potent the seed is. Lord Chaitanya continues. Being situated in one's heart and being watered by Shravana Kirtana, Bhakti Kripa grows more and more. In this way, it attains the shelter of the desire tree of the lotus feet of Krishna, who is eternally situated in the planet known as Goloka Vrindavan, in the topmost region of the spiritual sky. The Kripa greatly expands in the Goloka Vrindavan planet, and there it produces the fruit of love for Krishna. So at this point, one has achieved Krishna Prema once the Kripa has taken shelter underneath the desire tree of the Lord. Lord Chaitanya continues. Although remaining in the material world, the gardener regularly sprinkles the Kripa with the water of Shravana, of hearing and chanting. If the devotee commits an offense at the feet of a Vaishnava while cultivating the Kripa of devotional service in the material world, his offense is compared to a mad elephant that uproots the Kripa and breaks it. In this way, the leaves of the Kripa are dried up. Yadi Vaishnava aparade te hati mata upade vachinde tarasuki yayapata. So this is Madhya Leela, chapter 19, text 156. So dear devotees, you should remember this verse, and this is what Lord Chaitanya is saying. If a devotee commits an offense at the feet of a Vaishnava while cultivating the creep of devotional service in the material world, his offense is compared to a mad elephant that uproots the creeper and breaks it. In this way, the leaves of the creeper are dried up. So you can just picture this, is that you have gone a very long way. You have penetrated the coverings of the universe, right? So in the third canto, Lord Kapila Dev explains to his mother the different, the macro and the micro situation. So how the living entity is covered by the material body, and how those all those material bodies of different living entities are covered by a universe, Brahmanda, or an egg. And that egg is covered by different layers. And each layer is 10 times thicker than the next. And so it's a very great distance that this devotional creeper has passed. And the way to think of it is that this isn't actually just symbolic. So, in other words, like in satellite communications, uh, Wi-Fi, it has a finite range, you know. So radios or transmitters, radio transmitters, they have a finite range. On the farm, we have a consultant who's helping us with our new website, and so she used to be a radio astronomer, and she was building detectors, radio detectors, which can detect radio waves from deep space radio waves, and that they built a detector that could detect radiation from the time of the so-called Big Bang, or the very beginning of the universe. So a very long time. That radiation is still existing. So this energy is traveling great distances, so it can be detected. However, even with these this advances in radio astronomy, uh, other radiation from, say, Dhruva Loka, these the planetary systems, it can't actually be detected. So it does have a finite span. So that's with subtle energy. So radio waves are subtle energy. Everybody, even though you can't touch it, feel it, but you know it exists by its effect. And all you just need is a suitable detector, and then you can actually hear the sound. Similarly, here it's that when I'm seeing on Zoom the gallery view, um, I know you're actually all there. You people, the names are associated with people that devotees that actually exist, and so you're at different locations, but we have a suitable detector to actually um, to connect with you. So the more subtle energy you get, the greater distances you can actually travel. So the devotional creeper, um, it's not just a symbolic explanation from the Supreme Lord Himself. This is actually what is happening. Um, the seed is given, very subtle, spiritual. It's completely spiritual, right? The seed. Just like the spirit soul and is completely pure spirit, similarly, the seed is completely pure spirit. It's the same quality as the foliage in Goloka Vrindavan, the leaves, the grasses. It's the same quality. It's completely spiritual. And so it can grow great distances. There's no limit. So the desire tree, the characteristic of the desire tree is that it has what is called Kama Vashaita Siddhi. So this is a perfection in yoga practice, where the yogi can not only create, um, break the laws of nature, but can also create new laws. So much so that the yogi can actually create their own universe. So the devotional creeper penetrating the layers of the universe, think of it as it's basically you're going against the laws of the universe. And so that's how powerful it is. It has that potency to actually penetrate all these layers. But Lord Chaitanya is saying that even though there's so much of Shakti in the seed, like the sun's rays, for example, there are places in this universe that are dark. And as was explained in the beginning of this canto, Priyavrata Maharaj was very dissatisfied. So even though the sun is a very powerful energy, actual sun planet, and it's separated energy in the form of sunshine is very powerful, still it has its limitations. That radiation cannot actually reach the entire universe. And in the description, there's what is called Loka planet to actually spread out all that radiation and try to distribute it more evenly. So you can compare the sun's potency to the Bhaktilata Bija. The Bhaktilata Bija can do things which even the sun can't, and that is to actually radiation that penetrates the layers of the universe. So it's very powerful. The gift of the spiritual master, the gift of the Parampara. They've given you this touchstone, this pure seed. And so you as a spirit soul can transmit your love for Krishna through this kripa. So you're able to make offerings. So when you are making an offering to the lotus feet of Krishna through the Parampara, it's actually traveling up this kripa. It's the spiritual masters, they make an offering. His kripa is much more stronger. You're offering like that. So, you entangle your kripa at the lotus feet of the spiritual master, and then his kripa being more stronger, he also takes it upwards to his spiritual master, and in this way, the offerings go up, up, up to Krishna's lotus feet. But you do have opportunities. You do have the permission to also render direct service to the form of the Lord. So the Archa Vigraha is that opportunity. And when you're offering your service to the Archa Vigraha, such as Radha Damodar, if it's done with this, once your kripa has attained to the desired tree of the lotus feet of the Lord, then you'll see the Archa Vigraha as being non-different. You'll see Radha Damodar as being non-different from the divine couple. In other words, you're on the platform of Krishna Prema. But you can uproot the kripa. As great of a distance, as great of a potency that this is, you can uproot it. And that is what Lord Chaitanya is saying. I mean, we had a maple tree that was very old. And I think when you drive on the side of the road across the bridge through the tree line, you can see it. So these very old, big trees, you can see how big their roots are. And so such a thing can happen, is that a big tree with such deep roots can actually get uprooted, just as a creeper that has reached the platform of Bhava and even Krishna Prema, it can actually get uprooted by this mad elephant offense. An elephant can uproot trees, it can uproot anything. Very powerful. And so this aparat, mad Patimata, is a mad elephant. So let's hear what they say. So in the Madhurya Kadambini, Narthas from Aparada, this is a description of Bhajana Kriya. So unsteady Bhajana Kriya or Anishtita Bhajana Kriya, after Bhajana Kriya comes an Aratana Vritti for the clearing of unwanted habits. So there are 4 types of anarthas according to their origin: arising from past sins, arising from previous pious works, arising from offenses, arodhat, aparadhota, and arising from bhakti, bhaktyuta. Anarthas arising from aparada. Anarthas that arise from aparada refer to those due to nam aparadas, but not seva aparadas. The acharyas have discerned that seva aparadas are usually ineffective, being nullified by chanting the name, by recitation of stotras, having the power to cancel the effects, and by constant service. If one is careless, however, and takes advantage of being protected from the effects of seva aparada by these means, his seva aparada becomes nam aparad, an anartha that will obstruct his progress. He is guilty of the nam aparad of committing sin on the strength of the holy name. The word nam in this verse represents all the angas of bhakti that destroy anartha, the holy name being the primary anga. Even according to Dharma Shastra, one should not commit sin knowing he can be freed from the effect by the strength, prayaschita, remedial measures of the commission of sin. Vaishnav and Guru Aparat. Sadhu Ninda or criticism of Vaishnavas is the first of the 10 offenses against the holy name. Ninda also implies animosity, malice, and such. If by chance this offense occurs, the person should repent. Oh, I am such a low-class person. I've made an offense to a saintly person. Unquote. A person burned by fire seeks relief in fire. Ayurveda says to treat burns with ointments that cause heat. By this logic, he should nullify his offense by lamenting, falling at the feet of the Vaishnava, and satisfying him by offering obeisances, praise, and respects. If the Vaishnava is still unsatisfied, the person should render favorable services to him according to his desires for many days. Sometimes, aparadha is so grievous that the Vaishnava's anger does not die. In extreme remorse, the aparadi, thinking himself most unfortunate and bound for millions of years in hell for his offense, should give up everything and take full shelter of constant Nam Sankirtan. In time, the divine power of Nam Kirtana will certainly deliver that person from his offense. One should not justify himself, however, by arguing. Quote, the Padma Purana declares, Namaparada yuktanam namneva harantyagam. The holy name alone is sufficient to deliver an offender. Namakanda 25:23. So I'll take the shelter of this supreme means of purification. What is the need of humbling myself by offering repeated respects and service to the Vaishnava I've offended? Unquote. This type of mentality makes one guilty of further aparad, nor should one think that the offense of sadhu ninda discriminates between types of Vaishnavas. It does not refer only to one who is fully qualified with the virtues mentioned in Shastra. A person cannot minimize his offense by pointing out some defect in the devotee. In answer, the Padma Purana says, Sarvachara Vivarjita Satadyo Ratya Jaga Dwanchakaha. Even a person of bad character, devoid of proper behavior, a cheater, devoid of samskars, and full of worldly desires, if he surrenders to the Lord, he must be considered a sadhu. What to speak of a pure Vaishnava? So, again, this Vaishnava aparad is very dangerous, and that is what Maharaj Rahugana is saying, because such a rare thing as getting the seed of devotional service. So here, Lord Chaitanya has explained to Rupa Goswami, if you read this in Madhya Lila 19th chapter, that there's liberated souls, and then of those liberated souls, hardly one knows him in truth. And then of those that do know him, very rarely do they actually want to develop a intent to a loving relationship with him. And then those who do, people are wandering throughout the universe, different species of life, and some of them will come in touch with the spiritual master. And coming in touch with the pure Vaishnava is very rare. And then the spiritual master gives you the rare seed of Bhakti Lata Bija. The seed for the Bhakti Lata Bija. And that seed is so potent that it's actually more potent than the sun, for it can penetrate the coverings of the universe. But even after it's grown, even after it's reached the lotus feet of the Lord, the desire tree of Sri Krishna in the spiritual world, that seed can still be dried up by Vaishnava aparat. So that's why, it seems like there's a lot of stress on not committing offenses. And that stress is really to help you see that you are not invincible. So, yes, as a spirit soul, ontologically, I may be invincible to so many other things that are worthy of fear, fire, water, weapons, earth weapons, etc. But you can make so much of progress of actually escaping the cycle of birth and death through these various applied spiritual technologies of spiritual life, um, and relishing the results of that. But you can actually fall down from all that and start from scratch. Yes, you can really destroy a lot of your progress. Examples that are given: Shobhari Muni, who fell down from his yoga practice, Durvasa Muni, who offended Ambarish Maharaj. Despite the power that they had, they actually could not counteract the effect of this Vaishnava aparat. So yes, devotees, let us pray to Radha Damodar to help us to remain cautious. Always pray to him that can you please give me the knowledge on how to properly and appropriately interact with all Vaishnavas, regardless of their stature, and especially the pure devotee. Pure devotees in the form of the spiritual master, Diksha Guru, the Shiksha Guru, and respected devotees in the community. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions, reflections, contentions?
I have a question, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, Haribo.
The last item that you were reading, where were you reading from?
That was from Madhurya Kadambini.
Aha, okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
And as well for a nice class. Very gravely important subject matter. I'll tell you that in my own practice of Krishna consciousness, I find that this issue of strict avoidance of offenses is, at least for me at my stage of progress, it's everything. Everything seems to be dependent upon simply that progress is checked by particularly Vaishnava aparat. There are other types of offenses, as you mentioned. There's Seva Aparad, there's Nama Aparad, and Vaishnava Aparad. Those are the three major categories, and there's many, many subcategories. But Vaishnava Aparad is the greatest hindrance to progress. It can completely halt all progress and actually destroy all advancement that has been made up to that point. Could all be lost by Vaishnava Aparad. So it's very, very gravely serious. And it is, it's not always easy to avoid Vaishnava Aparad. The tendency can be very deeply rooted. We should be clear about what constitutes Vaishnava Aparad. And so it means, on the one hand, understanding who is a Vaishnava. Really, I have seen that some devotees will preoccupy themselves with trying to understand who is a Vaishnava and who is not a Vaishnava, and deeming it acceptable to behave offensively towards those who they determine are not a Vaishnava. And I have seen instances in which someone will determine that a devotee is not truly a Vaishnava because he lacks this or that quality. And this is a really dangerous way to think. Trying to approach the issue in that way is very dangerous. You're going to get yourself in trouble that way. Better to cultivate an attitude of respect, a humble attitude, and a respectful attitude towards everyone, all living entities. And that's the advice of Lord Chaitanya himself, who in his Shikshastika, he advises Kurnadapi Sunichana Tuhurapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sada Harihi. One should think oneself lower than the straw on the street, should be more tolerant than a tree, ready to offer all respects to others. And in that state of mind, you can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly, because if you don't have that state of mind, then you are sure to commit offense at some stage or other. And if you commit offense, then your chanting of the holy names will be interrupted. So if you become non-offensive, then you'll be able to chant the holy names constantly. So the other consideration, first, whether one is a Vaishnava or not, which I suggest is a foolish way to approach the issue. The next issue is what actually constitutes aparad, what actually is offensive. And there are various definitions given. Some of our acharyas have broken down Vaishnava aparad into many subcategories for careful analysis and discussion. The Skanda Purana divides Vaishnava aparad into basically 6 activities, 6 fundamental types of offense. They're listed as to actually kill a Vaishnava, or to inflict bodily harm on a Vaishnava, to blaspheme a Vaishnava, speaking ill of a Vaishnava, to to hate or dislike a Vaishnava, to not offer respect to a Vaishnava, and to display anger towards a Vaishnava, and finally, to not feel happiness on seeing a Vaishnava. Simply, when you see a Vaishnava, you should actually be delighted, and you should smile when you see a Vaishnava. And failing to do so actually is an offense. Sometimes we may have some hard feelings towards a particular Vaishnava for whatever reason. Maybe they offended us at some point in the past or whatever, and we haven't forgiven them. And so rather than feeling joy upon seeing them, we see them and the hair stands up in the back of our neck, and we're feeling all kinds of things, anything but joy and happiness. Maybe we want to run screaming, flailing our arms violently in the air and jump out a window. But so we should actually feel joy when we see any Vaishnava, and less than that is offensive. Gosh, there's so many things that can be said about offense. I took it upon myself years ago to try to focus on studying everything that I could about the subject of Vaishnava aparad, because I realized that I was a great aparadi and hurting myself spiritually by my offenses, and sometimes committing offenses that it was difficult to gain release from the effects of those offenses. Because ordinarily the process is that you offend a Vaishnava, you approach them humbly, you offer your obeisances, you beg their forgiveness. But sometimes, circumstantially, that's not possible. Sometimes you can't find that Vaishnava, or the Vaishnava may have left his or her body. And what do you do then? Sometimes you're left with no recourse. And I have found myself in that kind of a situation. And so I resolved to cultivate as much knowledge as I could of the issue of Vaishnava aparad, and to try to share that with others as atonement for my offense, in the hopes that somehow or other, at some stage or other, Krishna will forgive my offensiveness. And I think it's a good practice. I think everyone should carefully study this issue. If you don't understand it well, then you are more likely to make the mistake of committing offense. This chapter of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the 19th chapter of Madhya Lila, has extremely important instruction. Lord Chaitanya is instructing Srila Rupa Goswami about the Bhakti Lata Bij, the devotional creeper, the cultivation of the devotional creeper, protecting it from weeds, avoidance of watering the weeds, and avoiding the committing of offenses, particularly Hati Mata, which is gravely serious, very gravely serious. So it behooves every Vaishnava to study this chapter with great care and attention, Because really, if you have not assimilated that subject matter, your progress in spiritual life will be stunted. There will be actually a serious limit to how far you can progress in Krishna consciousness if you haven't understood those instructions. You just simply can't progress beyond a particular stage. Everyone has to have a firm understanding of the instructions Lord Chaitanya presents in that chapter. It's just absolutely critical. Anyway, we are out of time. I thank you again for your nice treatment of an important subject matter. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for your feedback, insight, and contribution to this very grave and important topic. And yes, devotees, as Tarka Prabhu said,
Can't hear you because I guess you don't have the lapel mic on.
Oh, sorry about that. It's just I have to take the laptop back in front of the deities because the things are already open. So I've already dismantled everything. But thank you, dear devotees, and see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Radha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Hey, it's good to see you.
Nice to be here.
Right. How's Saratma Prabhu doing?
Things are good. I mean, the transition from hospital.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just still take Tylenol.
Okay.
Plus, doing so great.
Okay. Jack. The place to be. Thank you, Tarka Prabhu, for joining us this morning, and we'll see you as usual tomorrow morning. Hare Krishna.